laughing. But go ahead.
I am. I'm already recording. All right.
All right.
So here's the truth. Sailors, they can smell fake leadership before you even open your mouth. If you're pretending, you're already losing.
This isn't just a podcast. It's a movement. Real stories. Zero fluff. Battle-tested wisdom. Straight from the mess to the Deckplates. If you're tired of silence, the politicking, and leadership cliches, you're in the right place. Welcome to Culture Keeper.
Welcome back to Culture Keeper, the podcast that bridges the gap between junior sailors and senior leaders. Now, today I am joined by Jay Bell. He has built a reputation not on polish, but presence, on being real, on being the kind of leader that sailors can trust because they know he isn't performing for eval bullets. He's showing up for them. And on these Deckplates, you can't fake presence, care, or competence. And sailors will never forget when you try. So, Jay, before we dive in to leadership philosophy, actually, no, I'm going to back up because I got to tell him. So, I got to tell him when I met you, JB. So,
All right. Fine.
So I first met JB. We were in the Senior Leadership Academy. And we were in a group chat with all of the classmates, and this individual was never on time to the group chat, never chatted with us when we were actively chatting. He would come in like 6 hours later, drop some profound shit, and then disappear again. And I was like, who is this dude? And then when we finally do the in-residency piece, I see who Jay Bell is. But what was so crazy was like, I still didn't really know who he was. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, this is, he in the program or whatever. I'm like, all right, that's what's up. And then we go into the hall where like we're all gathering, and like all these people just like flocking to him, like daggone celebrity. Like he had the aura around him, and it just draw people in. And I didn't understand, right? Because again, I didn't know him. But as I got to know him and learn more about him, I understood. I understood the draw. I understood people wanting to connect because he is that dude. So, Jay,
That's a glowing
before we dive into leadership philosophy, can you take us back? Where did you come from, and what shaped you in those early years in the Navy?
All right. Thanks for the intro though. That's amazing. I just remember struggling through school and you helping me study, but if it went down like that, that's how it went down. Nah, a lot of people don't know, but I'm actually from Augusta, Georgia. Right. A lot of people don't know I'm from Georgia. All right. Keep that real quiet, that part. But yeah, I'm from Augusta, Georgia. And I joined the Navy back in '94. Kind of under duress. I was out on bail, but I didn't do it. It's an innocent man out on bail. And so I went to boot camp. I had a really quiet time there, right? And then that past caught up to me because again, I was on bail when I got to my first ship. And I had done such a good job that they put a waiver in for me to stay in because I was supposed to be processed out for fraudulent enlistment. Right. And so a message came out and it had my name at the top. It had all these other names, and I always wonder what happened to them people. That thing's still in my record. But they did a waiver for me to stay in, and I never looked back. So I came in undesignated deck seaman. First duty station was on a frigate, Samuel B. Roberts, out of Norfolk. So that's as Navy as you get back then, right? Yeah. So deck was interesting. I liked it because it was kind of like your work was right there in front of you, and you can knock it out at your according to your work ethic, and that kind of taught me a little bit. You get what you give, and you can kind of like build your own reputation off of just your work ethic. So that was pretty intuitive for me. So I like deck a lot. Now, my intention was to become a gunner's mate, though. Right? I definitely wanted to become a gunner's mate. My grandfather was in the Navy, and all he could do was be a cook And so in World War II, when there was conflict, and I remember my grandma telling me how he was frustrated that he couldn't, shoot back. He couldn't really join the fight the way he wanted to join it. So I figured, hey, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be a guns mate so I can be able to, put rounds down range if I have to. And so my first experience trying to get out, there used to be GMG and GMM back in the day. I remember I was about to take the advancement exam. I was on the forecastle. I think I was on the anchor break, and it was before seeing anchor. And GMC Cox came out. GMC Cox told me, hey, I don't know how we started the conversation, but I was telling him that I was going to strike gunner's mate. And he told me I wasn't, right? He told me, no, I wasn't, as long as he was on the ship, and I had the same smirk that I got right now. Like, how you going to stop me, right? I said, I'm going to take the test and I'm gonna pass it and I'll be a GM3. And he told me no. So whatever. So I took the test and I PNA'd it. I didn't I didn't pass. I mean, I did not advance, pass not advance, but they wouldn't let me out of debt, right? But I kept getting my gunners mate quals. And this is how the season gets the chief season gets tied into this. During the chief season there were like two FCs that were selects and there was one gunners mate that was a select. And apparently this is what happened. Chief Cox had told them not to, they wanted to put their anchors on to not sign any more of my PQS. Right? Unbeknownst to me, had no idea. They went to the command master chief and told him, and CMC took care of it this way. When I came in, he called me in his office. Chief Cox was in there, and he was sitting down. His piece of paper in front of him. There's a piece of paper for me. He was like, "Sign that right there, Seaman Bell, and you'll be GMSN Bell." Like, and I'm over the moon. But then Chief Cox had a council check for him, and that's when he told me what had happened. Right. So that motivated me. I was like, I'm going to be a senior chief gunner's mate so that I can outrank this dude. Right. And so I was hell bent on being a senior chief gunner's mate. You could not stop me from becoming a senior chief gunner's mate. So um, in this relentless, pursuit of Chief Cox, and I hope you see this. I hope you're out there. I hope he's a subscriber.
Come on, God.
Yeah, I'm serious. So I remember being an E5, and he was like the SEL of the gun school. This is when we still had the green building. And I went out there to GMA school as a second class. And I saw him, he saw me, and he was a senior chief then. Right? He had made senior chief. So now I gotta make GM master chief, right? Now I gotta make master chief because he's senior chief. He tried to come around and say, hey, he said he really threw down the gauntlet and I stepped up and the E5 looked good on me, but I wasn't like the forgiving type back then. It's one of my victory, right, over him. And so, I just kept working hard until I made Master Chief Gunner's Mate. So that's my origin story and my villain that kind of kept me on pace to do what I want to do.
You said your villain.
Yeah, everybody got to have a villain, man. Everybody got to have a super villain.
Okay, I'll take that.
Mine was Chief Cox, Senior Chief Cox.
Okay. So when did it first hit you that authenticity mattered more than looking the part?
I think because, if you come in the Navy, we come in the Navy pretty young, right? And you already don't trust authority figures in that way. A lot of us don't. I definitely did not. And it was hard to tell who was genuine and who wasn't, because the whole time you didn't trust authority figures.
Right.
But I found out the only way to know if you could trust somebody was to trust them, right? That's the only way you can find out. And and you would, and then you would see. And you can't. I think you said it during the break when this came on. You can't fake that, right? You can't fake being somebody consistently, right? You could put on that mask for a little while, and you can change your posture. You might catch yourself before you say something every now and then, but you are gonna come out, right? You're gonna come out. And then once you see that, you know how to act around that person,
Right.
right? And then after a while you get this sense of who's genuine, who's not genuine. So and you know how to move. So um yeah, I think it's true that if the sailors know you care for real, um, you'll be a lot more effective with them, right? You hear people say that all the time. I don't want to curse on your podcast, but
Oh, you good.
this is a complaining sailor is a happy sailor, right? A complaining
Right.
sailor is a happy sailor, right? And that sounds crazy. It sounds like it doesn't make any sense. But what it really means is if your sailors will complain to you, then somewhere down their psyche, they believe that you care and you'll change something, right? But if they won't complain to you, you've already lost them. They don't believe that you care. They don't believe that you would change. They don't believe that you would fight for them or care about their dilemma. So as long as you got sailors that will come to you and complain, you got sailors.
Isn't there a balance with that though? Because don't you have you have sailors that, to your point, they complain because they want you to fix something, and then you have
Mhm.
those that are just negative and they complain just to complain, regardless of not even considering you're going to fix anything. They're just complaining because everything sucks and everything's messed up.
Right. And that's just like the same way that you're looking to trust senior leadership. You got to do that with your junior people as well, right? You got to figure out,
Okay.
who's faking, who's putting on this helpless costume, right? And what you try to do is like, hey, you got to meet me 51% of the way, right? I'll go as
51.
hard as
Okay.
49. You know what I mean? But I can't want this more than you want it for yourself.
Right.
It can't happen, right? So you gotta top out at 49, right? If you start going past 49, you can't even go 50-50. You gotta go 49 and they gotta hit you with that 51, right? And
Okay.
that's when you'll find that balance.
Okay. Now, can you think of a time? I'm sure it may be hard for you, but can you think of a time or a story where you tried to fake it and you failed? And what happened?
Ooh, ooh. Let me try to think of that. All right. Okay. Okay. I was leading PT, on Ford Island. I think this was back in like '08 or something like that. And I had the little exercise bands, the ones you can kind of step on and do the resistance, right?
Hmm.
And I'm going hard, right? I'm loud, you know what I mean? I'm up there in front. And I said something dumb like 24 count, something I shouldn't have said. And man, I'm on like 11 or 12 and I'm losing it. I'm losing this fight against these bands in front of all these selectees. Then I just had to eat it. I couldn't do it. So uh that was terrible. Because I couldn't will myself to get through it. I couldn't do it.
Oh no!
Yep. So yeah, that sucked. That sucked bad.
But you owned it.
I had no
So
choice.
yeah, yeah. So a lot of folks, they toss around the word authenticity like a buzz phrase, right? But sailors know the difference. From your perspective, what isn't authenticity?
I think a superpower is being able to say the same thing to the same people, right?
Mm.
I think that's a superpower. Once you start editing your speech or oversharing with a junior sailor to establish a relationship, like taking yourself down a notch to meet them somewhere, I think you stop being, you know, you stop being real in that because they can be upset with you, and that's fine. That's fine for a sailor to be upset with you But those cool points, man, you can't spend them nowhere, right? You have to do that so you can show them the same thing, right? That those cool points, they don't matter in the end. They could most times they're detrimental. You need to earn those by motivating. You need to earn those by pushing them through the hard parts and going, see, I told you, right? You hated me when I made you do it, but look at you now, right? And
Right.
they'll understand it later, but you can't get that instant gratification from leadership. It doesn't do that. It's this long, arduous, I hate you now. Okay, I understand you later. Is that phone call you get when they pick up chief, or they make officer or whatever, and then it all comes together for them. But you have to do that because they'll do it with their friends. They won't. You're doing it. Some leaders who stumble with trying to be too cool. They're not being a good example to those sailors because those sailors do it with each other, right? They try to impress each other instead of trying to impress the person that write their eval, right? You need to know what your leadership values, not what your homeboy values, because
Right.
your homeboy is not writing your eval, and the eval is what puts you in a position to advance, and advancement goes directly in your pocket. So you have to stay who you are. You have to show them that there's levels to it, and this is how you maintain the levels. And whatever had you surviving before you got to the Navy, congratulations on that. Some people had checkered past. They was in the gang. I joined this. I joined that. Hey, join Deckett. You feel me? Like, get on get on my training team now because you got to do it a different way now. So you show them that. You show them that. I think is a smart move, and never sacrifice, your position or your authority for cool points. It's not a good.
So every leader feels pressure to look sharp, to impress the chain of command, to perform. How do you handle that tension without losing your authenticity?
Well, our leadership shouldn't have to settle, right? I want to open with that. They shouldn't have to settle for, oh yeah, he might not look sharp, but he knows what he's doing, or she looks sharp, but she doesn't know what's going on, type stuff. They shouldn't have to settle, right? You should be once you get to a certain level, you should have all that tucked in. But that's not how it always works out, right? And so you get into talent management, right? Thankfully, we have tiered leadership that figure those things out, and it's kind of like managing a baseball team or a football team. Like you play people to their strengths, and that's what you're gonna have to do. Once you start putting people in places because, oh yeah, this person knows what they're doing, but man, okay, like a ship, right? A ship could be operationally excellent, answer every bell, knock everything out, and then they pull in looking terrible. They pull in with running rust, looking crazy, right? And the story of that ship is no longer the operational excellence. What's the story of that ship now? Right?
It look like
It's on
ass.
Reddit,
Hmm.
right? It's on Reddit. Why didn't you paint that? Right. And instead of feeling like, holy crap, we knocked something out, you feel kind of let down, right? Because you didn't have that balance. You didn't balance that out. Conversely, hey man, your ship could look amazing. And then, you crap out on insert, right? You can't certify. Your 80/10 is below standards. So you owe not just the taxpayer, but you owe your shipmate the balance, right? So you don't want to get too far whack on any side of that. Um, the key is to try to work on where you're not so strong, right? Don't let them key in and say, well, I'm just going to sacrifice this attribute of leadership. I'm just going to go ahead and just sacrifice that 100%. Still got to be open to criticism and open to try to improve yourself in those places that you're not good at. And I think as long as you leave some effort for that stuff you're not so good at, and you even if it's a slow grind forward, I think you'll be okay.
Okay. Now, was there a time when being real with your sailors earned you more respect than pretending?
No, I think it's eventual. I think it's all eventual. Nobody, those sellers, they don't believe you at first, right? Like you finessing them. They don't believe they're just like us. Everybody has this like I don't know. It's like this what do you call that? The Mandela effect, where
Mm-hmm.
they swear this there was this time that Chiefs were loved and respected, just and adored, and that time never existed. It's not real. We hated our Chiefs. We couldn't stand our Chiefs. We talked crap about them as soon as they left out the room. Yeah, there were more immediate and less regulated consequences for pissing off your chief, but you did not piss your chief off out of love and respect. That's not real. So you hear people, you don't hear, oh, the Chiefs lost his respect. They never respected us in the beginning, right? You end up respecting your chief once you understand your chief. Oh, they're holding me accountable. They're making me better. They're making me replace them, and that doesn't always feel good. You don't recognize tough love as love. You just recognize it as tough, right? So it's okay for them to hate you. It's okay as long as you don't hate them back, right? As long don't hate the sellers back. Remember, you used to be in the same way, and they can't stand you, and that's okay. You gotta let them survive themselves until they figure it out.
Okay. Now, for the E4 or E5 listening, what is the right way to admit that you don't know something without losing credibility? Or is there a
All
right
right,
way?
so I don't know if there's a right way if you're E5 because the E5 is probably the most frustrated person in this organization. E5 is frustrated, right? Because because at your level, at your viewpoint, you know what's going on, right? You know where everything is. You know what works, what doesn't work. You know who can do what and who can't. You've been to the latest C school, A school on the system, right? And your chief walks in and you're like, how the hell this person make chief? They don't even know this system. Like, you know, and you're so capable, but you're not making the decisions. So you are just so frustrated, like perpetually. What you find out later is you become the chief. And then that E5 behind you, they've been to the new school with the new equipment. And now they looking at you like, how the hell you make chief? Right? So it takes a while for that humility to come back around. But they don't know, and you won't, they're not always gonna be privy to what you know. But as much as you can tell people things, the better off they are. You ever heard the story of the three CBs?
No, I don't think so.
Story time.
Okay,
Story time.
story
Story
time.
time. See some. All right. All right. So there's three CBs, right? First CB is just y'all doing the same job, but that first CB is just taking their time, right? Going from one pile of bricks to another, just not no pep in the step. But then second CB is efficient. They're not wasting any time. They're going straight to the pile back. They're not checking their phone. They got a little rhythm going. But man, that third CB, she is just running from the pile, running to the stack, running from the pile to the stack, just getting it. But they're all doing the same job. And you're like, okay, let me see what's going on. Right? I'm a curious chief. I want to see what's happening. So they should make that first one is just going slow, stopping to check the phone, BSing. Hey, what you got going on? Well, I'm just stacking bricks. Right? Got to stack these bricks um, till it's all done. Whatever. You stacking bricks till they tell me I can go home. I bet. So you go to the second CB, the one that's got a little rhythm to. They ain't wasting no time. They ain't really hauling ass, but they're not wasting any time. Say, hey, shitmate, what you got going on? Oh well, we got to build 4 walls, right? And I got 3 of them done. I only got 1 more wall to do. I'm gonna get some liberty, so I'm about to get this last wall knocked out, so I can get out of here. All right, bet. Then you go to that last CB who was just feverishly running from pile to pile, knocking it out. Shitmate, what y'all got going on? Like, oh, we got to build this school for these kids. If we don't get it done by Friday, they're not gonna have anywhere to learn, and they depend on us to do it. right? So that third CB had the why. They had the whole story. And they understood that they weren't just stacking bricks. They weren't just making walls. They were building a school, right, for the kids to learn. So if they understood the entire thing that you know as a chief, yeah, I need you to do this drill because if we don't pass this drill on the first run, then it's going to affect uh, how many days we get for Palm because we're going to have to run this whole inspection back, right? And it's not just us. Combat System has an inspection that they have to do. Force Protection has one they have to do, and we can't just run it back to back. We got to fit somewhere in this schedule that's already crazy. You see all that, but all they see is that you running a drill for the third time and it's hot, right? So you want everybody to be that third CB. Give them what you have, right? And it's not going to motivate everybody, but it might get them
Right.
from that first CB to that second CB, or from that second CB to that third CB.
All right.
Right?
So let's put this on the deck plates, right? What are the daily habits that can either start, sustain, improve a sailor's authenticity?
How, there's only one way. You got to just be honest. You just got to be honest. And I'm not saying be pessimistic when something's hard or something that's very difficult. I'm just saying be honest, be reliable, and be honest. And that's all you can do is just be reliable and be honest. And when you can't be reliable, because you can always be honest, but when you fail to come through, own it. Right?
Yeah.
There's some currency in my bad. If you don't overspend your my bad, sometimes those my bads they work. You know. And if you can't, I have to say it all the time. Force called me up and say, Jay, what happened with this? My bad. I messed that one up. That was a bad call, Force. My bad, Fleet. You know, but they know I'll own it if I jack it up. And there's some comfort in that, from a leadership perspective, like, okay, Jay gonna tell me where this went left so we can avoid it next time. But if you
Right.
don't tell him where it went left, then we don't know how to avoid it next time because it wasn't your fault, right? It wasn't your bad, right? There's somebody else, some other factor. So what you have to do is own it. So if you're out there, you mess something up, own it, um, and be positive, right? There's a human math problem um, that's universal. Is that if you're being positive, you bring something to the effort. That's what positivity does. It's what addition does. If you're being negative, you're taking away. Negative takes away. Zero does nothing, right? Doesn't add or subtract.
Right.
So mathematically, the person that says nothing at all is mathematically doing more than the person that's being negative. So if you can't be positive, at least shut the.
I heard that.
You gotta bleep,
So
you got to bleep that out.
okay. So my challenge, right, to our listeners is for the next 7 days, call out one place you've been faking it. Tell your LPO or your chief what it is and fix it by Friday. Let your sailors see the real you. So I do like to close out with something I call come alongside. Just like an unrep, you pull in close, you take on fuel, food, care packages. Well, here it's a leadership fuel. It's quick hits you can use tomorrow. So you ready, JB?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Right.
first question. Who made you believe you could lead?
I would tell you my daughter. And it wasn't that I could, it was that I had to. She made it real. I didn't need a job, I needed a career. And my daughter made me know that I couldn't fail at it. So if you want to talk about a leader in the Navy that did that first, that'd be AOC Tommy Alford, who gave me the opportunity to lead, but who gave me the will to do it and the no fail mission was my daughter.
I love that. Okay. Next question. How do you define culture at your command and why does it matter?
Because culture culture is that intangible, right? Culture is what cultivates talent, right? You can have all the talent in the world with the wrong culture, and you're not going to practice, you're not going to execute. So culture is very important, and the culture here is a family. This is a family atmosphere. We like to say it. We want to treat people the way that we would want our family treated. So if you did that, right? If you recognize that everybody here is somebody's sister, brother, husband, wife, son, daughter, everybody's that to somebody here. And if we treat each other the way that we would want our family treated in the exact same situation, I don't think we'll arrive at anything that's unpleasant. And the way we keep that culture is through mutual respect and making sure that they understand that their families come first. Yeah, we got a mission. We'll rally around you while you take care of your family. But answer that phone if we call you and it's 18:45 on a Saturday. I need you to pick that phone up, homie. Right. And so that's our culture and it kind of works out for us.
Okay. So if you could give one piece of advice to your junior sailor self, what would it be?
I wouldn't give my junior sailor self any advice because I don't want to change anything. I don't want to change a single thing. I don't want any butterfly effect, any variable, because I love where everything is at. So I would let myself go ahead and I need that scar tissue, right? I needed that early. I needed to go to mass. I needed to go to restriction. I needed all those failures so that the wins felt so good, right? And they got addicted. So yeah, I wouldn't tell that dude shit.
Okay. Uh, so what's one of the most dynamic strengths of this new generation of sailors?
I think the access to information, I think, and their ability to absorb a lot of information fast. I think that's a dynamic strength, right? The networking they can do now, if you leverage it right, I'm not talking about turning Reddit into a Simio survey. I'm talking about, hey, have you ever seen this before? Can you help me out through this? That
Right.
type of leveraging technology, I think is a superpower. Some of these sellers come in and they know how to, we used to sit up there and try to write a watch bill, and you're like, leave me alone, don't come in here. And now they can
Yes.
come and they could just throw this thing together and it can track stuff and knows who's on leave and knows, what quals are coming up and they change its color and all that stuff like that. So there used to be one or two people on the ship that could do it. Now all these sailors come in with those skills and if they leverage them right, we can do some wonderful stuff. So yeah, I like them and I think it's a superpower.
Awesome. Well, last question. What's one leadership truth every sailor needs to hear?
There are there are super villains in this outfit. There are people that just want to see the world burn. Um, they may not be interested in helping you, right? They exist. They're outnumbered, but they exist. But this is the hardest truth to swallow, right? Even if they don't recognize your excellence, you are the only one that control whether you're excellent or not. You own that, right? You might do EP work and get a PE vow, but you do EP work because that's who you are. That's what you do. You have to decide to become that P that they're calling you or work through that. And the best, the best sailors keep putting in that EP work, right? Until the Navy catches up with them. Same thing you did. Saw you do it on your way to the cookie in that Avail on that CG. Same thing you did. And nobody thought it was a big deal. But I sat back and I said, that's pretty damn impressive. And she is gonna kill it when they release her into the wild. And so some of the best leaders out there, you gotta go through that period, but you can't believe somebody else's opinion of you and blame your performance, or I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, nobody cares, and stuff like that. You have to care. You have to put that work in. And no matter what they say, you have to decide not to be excellent. Never decide not to be excellent, right? You will outlast anybody in this organization that doesn't have your best interests in heart. All right. So that's the truth.
Okay. I appreciate that. Well, our time is coming to an end. I want to thank you, JB, for joining me today. It has been a breath of fresh air, and I hope that our audience takes some amazing things away, because there's a lot of gems thrown here. I will start wrapping up and just say authenticity, it isn't optional. It's leadership currency. Right? If you fake it, your sailors will feel it and they'll never forget it. So I want you to start with the 3 questions every junior leader should ask. It is free, it's simple, and it keeps you from gambling with your sailor's trust. You will find the link to download that in the show notes, and this marks the close of our launch drop, but it's only the beginning. And now here's what's next. And this is just the start. And so every Thursday, new episodes are dropping. Sea stories, leadership tools, and real talk from the mess. So subscribe today so you don't miss the next drop. And if no one has told you today, let me be the first to say thank you for all that you've done, all that you do, and all that you will do. Until next time, keep the culture, lead on. And culture isn't just kept, it's shaped. Every sailor, every day. Keep the culture, lead on.